One new face on the Federal Open Market Committee this meeting and several more potentially to come. As far as Wall Street is concerned, the big surprise has been how unsurprising these picks by President Trump to the Federal Reserve Board, that's the Board of Governors, have been. In fact, they seem the result of one of the most deliberate processes of any administration to create a board that's diverse in expertise. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You have Jerome Powell picked by President Trump to be the chairman, who's got expertise in business, banking, and also had been on the Fed since 2012 before he was named chairman. Richard Clarett is the new face. He's a monetary policy expert. PIMCO, as you'll remember, also Columbia University expert. Randall Quarles took office 2017. He is the banking expert and the vice chair of banking supervision, having been in banking for a very long time. And Lael Brainard, who is the one non-Trump appointee there among them. She has international experience, under Secretary of International Affairs, and also an economics expert. And now let's look at what the market thinks about these two new appointees right there in the middle. We asked in our Fed survey, are these guys more hawkish, in line with the center of the board, and more dovish? You can see a big majority of our Fed survey respondents think these guys are basically in line with where the center of the board is. How about the new faces that are coming? Well, there's a bunch of them. You can see in the next graphic there that there is Nellie Lang, just named recently as a nominee to the Federal Reserve Board, who is a financial stability expert, economist, and had been at the Fed for something like 30 years. Michelle Bowman, the Kansas Bank Commissioner, she fills that community banking spot. And there's Marvin Goodfriend, who's been nominated for a very long time and held up by members of the Senate. I think it's Democrats mostly who worry about how hawkish he is. And you can see that, by the way, reflected in our Fed survey. Take a look here at where people think these people land relative to the center of the board. Michelle Bowman, you can see there's a lot of unknowns as to monetary policy with these individuals, except for Marvin Goodfriend, who's thought to be more hawkish. I think he's actually personally more nuanced than all that. There's Nellie Lang, is seen as being really a centrist, and some talk about there being some opposition among Republicans to Nellie Lang. All this raises the question, well, where is this center of the board I'm talking about? And the answer right now seems to be continued gradual rate hikes in the face of an economy operating hotter than they think to be the steady run rate, both in GDP and especially employment. It also means keeping an effort to normalize rates, possibly going a bit above neutral if warranted. But I think they're not in a particular hurry and remain open, guys, to the possibility of stopping earlier if it seems like the run rate, in other words, potential GDP, is higher than they thought, Andrew.
Okay. Steve, thank you for that. Of course, we're going to be spending a lot of time with you later this afternoon, watching you and the press conference. Is there one thing you're looking for Jerome Powell to say, by the way?
You know, I think what we've been saying all week on this Fed meeting is the outlook for 2019. I think the Powell Fed has been following very much the blueprint of the Yellen Fed, and there have not been a need to make many choices yet. One of the things that's happening is whether or not he ends up embracing the tax cut idea that it raises potential and can create all this growth without inflation. And that's only going to determine how much they do next year. Is it 2, 3, or even 4 rate hikes in 2019? I think this year is baked in. A rate hike today will be announced, and then one in September seems to be almost December, sorry, seems to be a certainty right now.